Bedford Snows here, folks. This is the Cedar Summit Etherlite XT Extreme mat. This is one of the warmest air-filled mats. We've got dual layers of THERMOLITE insulation and 10 centimeters of thickness to make ultra lightweight warm adventures possible. This is how the Etherlite XT Extreme mats look when you get them in their stuff sack. This is the women's regular. There's 6 different sizes. So this weighs about just under 700 grams, about 685 grams. And the largest rectangular size goes up to just over 1 kilo. So there's 6 in the range and different weights there. And pack size doesn't vary a lot. This one's about 24 centimeters by about 17 or just over 17 centimeters in diameter. And the larger version is about another 4 centimeters longer than this, about 28 centimeters long and about 18 to 19 centimeters in diameter. I'll start by pulling it out of the bag. Now there's 2 ends to this bag. You want to open the red end first. This allows you to take the actual mat out, and what you're left with once the mat comes out is a bag that doubles as an inflation aid. Now, as with any self-inflating mat, it's not a good idea to blow into it with your breath because of the moisture that can go inside the mat. This gives you this airstream, I think they call it airstream, yeah, A-stream they call it, pump sack. Now, it's included with the mat, allows you to inflate it in about 3 inflations of these without having to use your breath to blow it up. Having a look at the mat, I'm going to roll this out and just talk about the sizes to start with. As I mentioned, this is the women's regular. Now, there's a women's regular, a women's large, which is a little bit wider and longer. So this one measures 168 by 55. The women's large goes up to 183 centimeters in length and 64 centimeters in width. And then you've got just a regular, which is also 184 centimeters in length, but back to 55 in width. And then there's 3 that are a rectangular size as well. And they don't taper off on the corners here. They're actually square in their length. So they start at 198 centimeters in length and they're all 64 wide. So you've got 198, 183, and then 201 centimeters in length. So lots of different size options with these mats here. And these mats are made out of a 30 and 40 denier nylon face fabric here. Now, there's a lot of talk about these mats being crinkly or noisy at night. I'll give this a bit of a crinkle now. So they do make a bit of noise. So yes, they are noisier than your standard self-inflating mat, which have kind of a softer, sometimes a velour type finish on it. But you get 10 centimeters of thickness for a lot lighter weight here. So there's a little bit of a balance, a mat that makes just a little bit more noise at night with the extra thickness so that while you're not moving, you get more comfort. Or do you go for something a bit heavier and not as thick? That doesn't make any noise, but this isn't as noisy as the original mats that Cedar Summit brought out. This is all, it's the same fabric on the top and the bottom, and there's these little dots here. It's an upgraded construction method that they make, and this is a little bit like baffle construction in sleeping bags, and that this dot here is welded to the bottom here with a little baffle in between. So there's probably about that much gap between this weld point here and this weld point on the bottom. So the top layer of fabric and the bottom layer of fabric never actually come together. There's a complete separate layer in there. And inside here is dual layers of THERMOLITE insulation, and you can feel it. If I pinch 2 layers of this together now, you can see my fingers are probably a good, 5 millimeters apart there. So it's a nice thick layer of insulation, one that's stuck to the top, one that's stuck to the bottom, so you've got heaps of insulation, and that gives these mats an R-value of 6.2 or 6.3 depending on which size you're looking at. Not much other features to show. There is their PillowLock system here. So these little dots here are there to be used with a little pack of, and I don't have one with me now, but a little pack of 3M Velcro tabs or sort of hook and loop tabs that you put on here. You stick them on, and the Cedar Summit pillows then stick here to stop them sliding off the mat. So that's what they call their PillowLock system. You don't have to use it, but the feature's there if you want it. And then next to that is their multi-use valve. Now this has got a few different uses or a few different ways of using it. If we pull this off, we've got inflate valve there. If we pull the whole thing off, that's the deflate valve option there. So that just, there's complete access to inside the mat there. Actually, if we can, there we go, we can see the actual insulation inside there now. So that's what the insulation inside looks like, a really soft synthetic fill. This orange valve in here is the one-way valve, and I'll show you shortly, but when this is blown up, you can press in the middle here and micros adjust the firmness of the mat. So blow it up really tight, lie on it, and then pull this cap off and you can just press this to adjust it, but we'll show you that shortly. What I want to do now is show you how to inflate it. So we grab our ASTM pump sack here. We leave the bottom section of this done up. We just pull the top cap off and we push this into this cap here like that. From there, we lay the mat out flat and stand up and give this a bit of a shake and just a light puff of air inside here and trap that air inside. And then we just roll the bag towards the mat and push the air inside. It's not hard, it goes in nice and easy. Once the first one's done, unroll it, do it again, and it'll take about 3 of these to get the mat inflated. This is a nice lightweight material, so it doesn't take much breath for it to expand and take the air inside. So you can see that's almost, actually that's pumped up now just after 2, that's nice and firm now, just after two fills of that pump sack. So that's nice and firm. I can now take this off, and because of the one-way valve in here, it's not going to let any air out, and I can lock it closed like that. So we're now all set up, and we can see that the air sprung cells here have kind of taken shape. Now the air's inside, and this point here and the same point underneath here are not touching. I have to push them down for them to join. There's a little sort of joiner between the two. So we've now got 10 centimeters of mat here. If I want to adjust this now, if I say sit on the mat or lie on the mat, I can open this, and while I'm lying on it, if I just press in the middle here, we can hear it just hiss a little bit. It's just letting out little puffs of air until we can get this to the comfort level that we want. I won't let too much out now because I've blown that up pretty firm and I've let a little bit of air out. And I want to just kind of sit on this and give you a bit of a judgment of how comfortable it is. Now, it's a bit hard to sort of show you here, but I pumped a fair bit of air in. I can just push down on the top there. So there's a reasonable amount of pressure in there. Now, this is a women's regular mat here, and I'm 185 centimeters, so I am too tall for this mat. If I sit right in the middle there, you can see the mat kind of pulls up a bit, and I do just go through to the bottom there. So obviously 1 point of pressure on the mat, you're going to hit the bottom. But if I lay flat on this now, I'm not touching the base at all, and it feels quite firm. I'd probably actually be more comfortable if I let a bit more air out and just let myself sink down into the mat there. If I lie on my side, if I had a pillow, it'd be much more comfortable. But if I let this air down, my shoulder feels a little bit tight here, but if I let it down a little bit flatter, my shoulder's just going to drop down into the mat here, and I can feel that adjusting already. And so I'm actually letting quite a bit of air out there. So I've let quite a bit out, and I'm not touching the bottom there now. My shoulder's now dipping into the mat a bit more, and I feel pretty comfortable, and none of me is touching the floor at all. I'm still up on top of the mat here. So actually, if I push really hard on my shoulder, it goes just through to the bottom there now. But lying still, if I had a pillow there now, I'd sleep pretty comfortably on this mat. So with 10 centimeters of thickness and an R value that is ASTM tested as well of over 6, this is the lightest and warmest mat we've got. So if there's winter adventures you're after, this is a great option. One other thing I mentioned too is that while you should, wherever possible, use this mat to use this bag to pump the mat up, there is an antimicrobial layer on the TPU lining on the inside, so it's not going to kill it straight away if you get a bit of moisture inside the mat, but at least make sure you store it with these valves open so the moisture can escape. But you can avoid all of that by just using this handy little stuff sack. Now, packing the mat up is nice and easy. Go to the valve here. If you undo the inflate valve, obviously nothing's going to happen. If we undo the whole valve, we're going to hear the air just whoosh out really quickly. So that mat has gone flat now. So with self-inflating mats, we would now need to sort of squash all the air out, but this has actually gone completely flat already, and pack up of this mat now is super easy. Just fold it in half and start to roll from the bottom towards the valve. The air squeezes out super easy, and the stuff sack that Cedar Summit have provided is provided with consideration that maybe your hands are cold or you're tired and you can't roll it up really tight every time. So it goes back inside nice and easily. So it's an oversized stuff sack there. So slide that back in. I didn't put a lot of effort into rolling that up, but it's still rolled up pretty firmly or pretty tightly. You can then grab the pump sack on the bottom, tuck that in its little pocket on the end there, and tighten that up as well, and we're all packed up, ready to go back in your pack to tackle the snow, the slopes, the rain, whatever it is you're doing on your winter activity. That is the Cedar Summit Etherlite XT Extreme Mats from Cedar Summit, the ultimate lightweight winter adventure camp mat with 10 centimeters of thickness. You can check these out online at snowies.com.au, where you'll find them at our lowest prices every day. If you've got any questions, let us know down in the comments below. Subscribe to our channel for all of the latest information, or check out some other videos like these ones down here.